This is the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
Anthony for three. Bang!
Gentlemen and sports fans alike, you are listening to the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. I'm Ruckus the Menace.
And I am Ruckus.
And on this episode today, we will be highlighting new baseball free agent signings, recapping a few things from the previous 2 weeks of the football season, as we did not have a episode last week due to the Christmas holiday.
Yes, sir.
And then we will be recapping our year in review and also be guessing the year as we play our primetime game. All right, Ruckus, so kind of how things been since the holidays, or we're in between holidays now.
Yeah, now we're on the New Year's weekend here over
Yep.
whenever you see this or listen to this. Well, my Christmas was pretty good. Hung out with the fam, had some good times. My niece really wanted to open my own presents over hers, because every time that she opened a present that she got, she was like, "Oh my god, can I play with it?" And we're all just like, "We're gonna have to hold on, you still have more presents." She's 3 years old, by the way, for context.
Yeah.
Or almost 3, I should say. Not 3 years old right now, she's 2, but she is going to be 3 in like March, I think. But yeah, every time she saw one of her toys, she's like, "Oh my god, I want to play with it." And we're just like, hold on, you got more." But she was also helping me open my presents, which I got a lot of clothes, a lot of cheese stuff. Yeah, it was a very good Christmas. I got to spend time with family and chill out, and then literally the day after that I had to go work because obviously Christmas was on a Sunday, but
Yep.
I did have that Friday off, but still. Christmas was good. How about yours, Spanish?
Yeah, Christmas went over pretty well here in the on the East Coast. Pretty much nothing overly special because there's a wedding in 3 months that is going to be kind of superseding that. But really, other than that, I mean, I got my hands on a good amount of God of War Ragnarok. I actually watched Knives Out last night, the first Knives Out. Sarah and I will be doing Glass Onion tomorrow, so I'll see that. And then I gotta watch Death on the Nile coming up here soon because I've been kind of on a little bit of a mystery movie kick.
Also, as far as movies go, me and you have both seen Avatar 2, and I mean, it was an alright movie. That's all I'm gonna say.
It could have been shorter.
Yes, very.
That's kind of the biggest thing there. But now that we've kind of really gone over a good amount of the off topic, we now can hit the starting lineup. And we've got 2 major football stories and 2 major soccer stories. Other than obviously, we really couldn't get to our uglies now to kind of talk about the Derek Carr situation as well. But Nathaniel Hackett has been fired, and J.J. Watt will retire at the end of this season. Shout out J.J. Watt, as it's been a heck of a run. And for soccer, on the sad note, Pele passed away today at 82 years old. And then the World Cup concluded the other week, with Argentina defeating France in a penalty shootout and an instant classic of a championship match to win the World Cup. And then Salt Bay decided to ruin everything.
Well, he decided to add a little salt to the equation, which not every situation is good with.
uh yeah, I will even say for dud, my honorable mention was obviously Salt Bay. um but Ruckus, I will leave to you to talk about the MLB free agents, as now we kind of have had well, excuse me, a very cluster filled signing process with one Carlos Correa.
Yeah, like a week or two ago, he was signing with the Giants, and now and then like literally a couple days after that fell through, he went to the Mets. But it's still in the air about whether or not he's going to be a Met, even if Steve Cohen has team control over him. Like, what the hell is going on with this man?
In both instances, the physical has drawn a concern over the same leg. It's the same thing that
Is
caused
this
concern with the Giants.
is this like a real human or IRL version of the my leg gag from SpongeBob?
Oh my god.
My leg. For the people
This
that don't
is
watch SpongeBob, it's probably one of the funnier my leg gags. So like,
that
let's say for example in SpongeBob, whenever there's a episode of Hall Monitor with SpongeBob where he becomes a hall monitor and then he thinks that he could direct traffic. Where with traffic there's boats instead of like cars. So like
instead of people.
whenever he was trying to direct traffic, he ended up causing a bunch of crashing to happen, and then a bunch of destruction happened in his wake. So in the background, you'd hear a random fish go, my leg, and like every once in a while, you just hear that gag just happen.
Hmm.
So that's
Yep.
the lore behind that. Um, as far as other signings go, Dansby Swanson signed a 7-year, $177 million contract with the Chicago Cubs. As his
Cash
reasoning for that was,
grab.
because of his late grandfather, I believe, said that his grandfather was a big fan, and he always wanted to play for the Cubs.
Fiance is a pro player in Chicago as well, so that kind of for soccer. So that also may have had something to do with it, but really in terms of that kind of just his time over there at the Cubs and what it's going to be is just I I just don't see the baseball sense in it. So that's
Yeah.
why I said it just looked like a cash grab.
Eh, I mean, he is getting 177 million for 7 years, so that's probably about like 30 or 40 million a year. It's probably more likely 30 or 20 million a year with taxes, but yeah,
No, no. If you're saying 7 years, 30 million would be 210. So it's
true.
so you're probably right there sitting at about actually 120 or 25 million and a little bit of change.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, my bad. Quick maths. um, and then next up is Carlos Rodon, pitcher from the Giants, now becoming a Yankee. 6 years, 162 million. That's about 25 million there as well. Benintendi becoming a member of the White Sox for 5 years, 75. That's actually a pretty good contract for a guy that has been kind of hit or miss. Um,
The
JD
shave
Mart-
anymore.
JD Martinez going to the Dodgers, 1 year, $10 million. That's a pretty conservative contract. Michael Conforto and Taylor Rogers signing with the Giants. Conforto's was I believe 2 years, and then Rogers was 3 years for the Giants. Also joining his brother Tyler Rogers. Um, Nathan Eovaldi signing a 2-year, $34 million deal with the Texas Rangers, and the Red Sox answering the call. They decided, since Eovaldi is gone, to sign Corey Kluber to a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Red Sox.
If only Kluber could come with the effectiveness like he would in Cleveland.
You might have to spend a little bit extra on Apple Care, to get that assurance.
I said Klubot. That had nothing to do with an iPhone.
I mean, still, like, I don't know. I was just never mind.
That joke just didn't work, Ruckus.
It didn't land. That plane flew off.
It's like the operation was a success, but the patient died.
Anyways, let's go to
the
our
simulated
fantasy
games. I am done. I finished 5th out of 8 in my league. However, this gives me the 4th overall draft pick for next year. So, considering, and I will say this as I sent this in a text message to my commissioner, verbatim, talking about the situation. I basically said, we were talking about wanting that spot. I said, but for a season with having a major stretch with quarterback play fit for the residency of Oscar the Grouch, finishing middle of the pack is kind of turning lemons into lemonade. Or lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, I lost in the semifinal. I had a really good first year for what I had. I got lucky. I definitely didn't have like over 100-point weeks like some other people, but I mean, I could have orchestrated it a little bit better, but it is what it is. First time, not bad.
Well, and now we kind of can highlight now week 15 and 16. We usually do this as a 1 week thing, but now we're kind of talking about a little bit of what really was over the span of 2 weeks. So, Ruckus, which team were you most impressed with over the last 2 weeks?
Okay, so this was really from last week, but I'm still gonna put it in there. The Los Angeles Rams with Baker Mayfield. Obviously, they faced a beaten up Denver Broncos team that has been more beat up, but still, the way they did it, like, they could have done worse. They could have pulled a Chiefs game and, like, literally had it down to the wire for no apparent reason. And I adore what the Rams did. They just destroyed the Broncos, and that's why I have them as my most impressive team.
Jaguars, as now they have rallied themselves into solid position to make the playoffs. We now can talk about playoffs.
Playoffs?
With the Jaguars. Yes, playoffs.
Playoffs?
Playoffs. Yes, I'm talking about playoffs. And our teams of disappointment.
I said this in a bold take, kind of, as a prediction, but the New York Jets, as they just been disappointing, and I kind of figured they're gonna fall off, kind of like the Raiders did, but not as dramatically, just kind of like in a they're not gonna make it very far kind of sense.
Now, I would have, in this normal sense, I probably would have said the Tennessee Titans. However, there was one major moment that kind of had to overshadow everything and make this the Indianapolis Colts. As Steve Smith said, is that Jeff Saturday should have been the first ever interim head coach to get fired for what just happened in giving up a 33 to a big fat Krispy Kreme lead at halftime am blowing it. Yes, I said it. 33 donut.
All right, you ready for
How
my
in the
most
world
impressive?
do you give that up?
I
No,
don't
I'm saying like
know. I don't know. Maybe it's maybe he was thinking of Saturday instead of Sunday, you know, just lounging.
the problem is that game was played on a Saturday.
Well, maybe he was still in the moment of Saturday instead of actually giving a shit about Sunday, you know.
But they were up
I
3-0.
know. Maybe he was in La La Land. He was like, "Okay, we're safe, right?" And then he was like, "Oh shit, the Falcons lost the Super Bowl in a 28-3 lead. Oh yeah, that happened." And then he just was like, "Oh crap." I think he was in a daydream.
Or just Minnesota got a lot better because of it.
Yep.
Most impressive player this 2-week stretch.
All right, a guy that went from being kind of looked at as is he done to, well, now he's got a baker's dozen. I'm looking at Baker Mayfield because when he debuted with the LA Rams, he used his instincts, and then the next week after that, I mean, he didn't do the best, but then the week after that, he took down the Broncos. So that's why I have Baker Mayfield as my most impressive player.
Come on, anybody could have taken down the Broncos. Anybody could have.
I mean, Mahomes could have, but look what happened with that. I mean, yeah, they won, but not by a whole margin like the Rams did.
I'm
And
sorry. The Broncos right now are in such a bad place that 2 football teams created by our moms could have taken down the Broncos.
I mean, yeah, but that's could have, not would have. The Chiefs have Patrick
The could in
Mahomes. Okay,
the could in this case is talking about capability.
the
Like
LA Rams,
if both of our moms know anything about football,
which my mom doesn't. Sorry, mom, but
my
it's
mom
true.
does. My mom does know a little bit. So.
My mom will watch football, and then like week 17 rolls by, and we'll wonder who the team who like a teammate is, and then we'll be like, "You watched this for 17 weeks, and you didn't realize what was actually going on? Like, what the hell?" Anyways, that's enough digging on my mom. Love you, mom.
The football came from my mom's side, so that kind of rings a little truer on my side.
Yeah.
It cancels out. Oh, but my most impressive player was none other than the current Mr. Irrelevant himself, as he's doing quite a number for himself.
He's doing pretty good.
I would say it's definitely more than pretty good. Like, he's doing really good. Like,
he's real pretty.
I would definitely be staying away from the puns on the last name at this point, because
I mean, it's more than a pun though. It's more of it's just a saying. It's like a slang.
Yeah, I got it, but I'm saying I got where you were going with that, but I was saying taking away the last name puns. It really is just an excellent work that he's doing, and it's causing more problems in terms of figuring out who really is Kyle Shanahan going to go to after this season for quarterback. And at this point, that's kind of a, no pun intended, a pretty good problem to have.
Yep.
As value, as he now can trade some things, probably ship off Garoppolo or something like that for value.
I have a feeling you would probably just trade him for picks if that were even a thing. But if he's a
That's
free agent next year,
exactly
then
no. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Is that talking about value, like actual like assets? Like he's actually like gonna. He could probably turn that into some assets
yeah.
and make it make sense. Or at least John Lynch is the one that would be pretty brilliant at that. And now it's time for the Eastwood segment.
The good, the bad, the ugly. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
All right, so what's your good this week?
My good this week is the penalties in games going from what the insert swear word here or colorful word to better. As at least I noticed
Sure
in
about
the
that?
okay, so
Are
the
we really
Chiefs.
sure about that?
Okay, I am like 70% sure because here's the deal, dog. When it came to the Chiefs a week ago versus now, the penalties were like barely even noticeable. Like the game before, it was like penalty over penalty over penalty over penalty, and then the next game it was like, what do you mean? There's no penalties here. It's not like we just dumped a bunch of dead bodies in the river. No penalties
So
here.
sorry, like Chiefs game aside, like this is still like it's still the former.
I mean, if you have Carl as your ref, then maybe. But
How about that side judge with Terry McLaurin?
I don't know what to tell you, Chief.
No, no. How do you mess up telling a receiver to move up for an illegal formation penalty called on your side of the play?
I really don't know. My
Like
thought is they got
I
bored,
that's
or
why
they
I
were
am
like, oh,
that's
they
why
were like,
I am debating your good and saying that this is still bad.
um.
Like that is still bad.
I mean, it's still like terrible, but it feels more benign than it was in the past. But maybe it's just my experience in my games. I don't know, but it's still bad. I'm not saying that it's all going away. I'm just saying it's less of a fact in some circumstances.
Yeah. But my good this week involves the Minnesota Vikings with talking about history being made as Minnesota got a 33-point comeback over the Indianapolis Colts. All of it in the second half. I mean, this is mind blowing, but it still makes you wonder what in the world just happened. And I looked as I'm like seeing this happen. I was just like, what is going on? They keep showing the highlights. I was like, what is going on? like, I'm over the like watching this, and I'm just like I am just in complete and total shock at what just happened.
I mean, the Chiefs did it like 3 years ago, so I mean, is it? I mean, yeah, with a different team, it might be a little
24. It
bit
was
surprising.
24. It was 24-0 at that point. But
I mean, they
Mahomes,
still whipped their ass by like 50 points in the divisional game.
yeah, that was still. But I'm still to say like Minnesota looked useless in the first half of that game. The Kirk Cousins and Kirk Cousins still scored 32 for me on that. Like it looked like it was going to be a complete mess, and then Kirk Cousins turns this whole thing around.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins asked the head coach to hold his beer.
But this is also not the first time Kirk Cousins has done this because he's also come back from about 24-0 as well in the You Like That game, which I believe Kevin O'Connell was at least adjacent to, because I think he might have been on the skin staff at the time. So we knew this existed. So what was your not so good thing this week?
My not so good bad was Zach Wilson's outing versus the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football. Like, how do you manage to like do that bad? I mean, yes, the Jags have a good defense and they've been known for that this whole year, but still, like, how do you manage to throw interceptions like that?
Because this dude is nothing more than a cannon for an arm and not truly a great quarterback.
I also hear he's into MILFs, but we're just gonna
We
leave
knew
that for.
that was. Oh, we've known that. We've known that. That was brought up even before the season began. But I'm saying that he's nothing more than a person who pretty much can throw a football like it's shot out of a cannon and really is not a fundamentally sound quarterback. He only shot up the ranks because of his arm strength. But my bad is that the Titans' chances of winning the AFC South are fading away. And let alone, on top of that, they are currently playing the Cowboys right now with a lot on the line, getting ready to head into the Jacksonville game next week. And the Titans are already still down 7-0 right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So this could go from bad to worse. But what is your ugly this week?
My ugly this week is Matty Ice, literally and figuratively getting ice for the second time this season for Nick Foles. Last time, Matty Ice got benched for Sam Ellinger, and now he's getting benched for Nick Foles.
My ugly is Broncos country and their hopes of winning for the foreseeable future, as they will probably be telling coach and maybe quarterback Broncos country bye bye bye.
Was that in sync or was that not in sync?
The idea was to go with that NSYNC reference there.
No, like sync as in like was it like synced up?
Um,
Never mind.
Wilson's still the quarterback, so not quite. They're not going to be leaving at the same time, as Hackett has already been fired.
Time to refresh.
Yep. All right. Best game this week for you was
The Packers Dolphins, just for the sheer fact that it was a very close game and the Dolphins blew it in the end, but the Packers had enough defensive help to get the Dolphins.
Eagles Cowboys, because that one was one that looked like it was really solid back and forth, wire to wire, start to finish. And then, of course, you said your worst game this week was one you already talked about with Jets Jags.
Yeah, that was a dumpster fire.
And then we've already talked about Rams Broncos, the game that ultimately led to Nathaniel Hackett saying, "I'm out of here," or "I'm getting fired, I'm out." What is your bold take, Ruckus?
I know it sounds a little extreme, but Twitter would probably agree, and the fans of the NFL that have had Carl Sheffers as their ref being idiotic as he can be. And my first thought about seeing him on TV when he was doing bad was it reminded me of Crush the Turtle from Finding Nemo, which is the one that's like, dude. Anyways,
You're like, whoa. You're like, whoa.
and whoa. um, but my bold take this week is off with his head, because there were some ridiculous calls that he would pull, and sometimes they weren't even calls at all. They were just like, "Oh, I had my flag out. My bad. That was pretty embarrassing." But I'm just gonna say there was no flag on the play. I'm just a complete dumbass. Let's just keep rolling. Like, that's literally Carl Sheffers in the nutshell. When it came to the Chiefs and I think it was the Bengals or some other team they were facing, but my God, like the man needs a, the man is like an energetic kid that you just gave sugar to. It wants to know what the next thing is, and it's like ahead of itself and can't really concentrate. Carl Sheffers just needs, he needs to retire. Like, good God, sir. Either that or just like figure it out.
Yeah. And my bold take here, I'm going to be taking a page out of DJ Khaled's playbook. Congratulations, Titans. You played yourself out of the playoffs.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be another one because DJ Khaled, but
No, it was definitely congratulations. You played yourself, which is
Venice, you just put out another banger of a roast.
DJ.
We
We're
the
the
best.
best.
I just know the one thing I know about DJ Khaled when it comes to like the memes is another one or we the
Yeah.
best or another one and then just like another and then another just like repeated thing of another one and another one and another one.
Yeah. All right.
Major
Let's get to
keys.
let's get to your burning question there, Ruckus.
All right, my burning question is just kind of a thing that that fans of the NFL should sit on a little bit if you're a Buffalo Bills fan or just like the Bills in general. Here is my burning question. It's summering, but it's getting there. Do the Bills have enough gas in the tank for the defense to stay strong for a long playoff run with the potential of Von Miller coming back? And the potential is kind of just a more of a how much trust do the Bills have in Vaughn, and how much trust do they have in the people that are hired to be the doctors and uh, people that just monitor Von Miller. I saw a video the other day about how Pat McAfee was talking to Von Miller, and Von was talking about how he could potentially be playing in the championship game or the divisional game for the Bills. But with what the Bills already have that is still healthy, do you, Spennis, see the Bills having a long playoff run? Yes, you still have Josh
I think the
Allen and company, but do you think the defense will be enough to help Josh Allen?
I think injuries do hurt them a little bit on the defensive side, but I think they do have just enough. They've got just enough to get there.
I think so too, but I just don't know how much. Especially because, like, yes, Von Miller's still down, but do you think a semi-healthy Von Miller is going to really lead the charge? Because I don't think so, but because he might feel limited, but also there might be the risk of him going down again.
Yeah, I think it's going to involve Von Miller leading the way.
I mean, he is tough like a Texan, so we'll just have to see.
All right, and my burning question is who is really to blame for Denver's complete catastrophe that is called the 2022 season? Russell Wilson? Nathaniel Hackett? John Elway?
First off, Elway isn't the GM anymore, so really it's up to. I don't even know the name of the GM's name, and that's because I'm so used to blaming Elway if it comes to the general manager decisions, because the last good decision he made was when Peyton was signed, and that was 7 or 8 years ago. So like after that, it went kind of downhill. So in my opinion, at the beginning of the season, when we didn't know what the hell was gonna happen, it was probably a good thing that maybe Russell Wilson came to the Broncos. But now that we realize that it was a horrible idea and that it should have never happened, yeah. But you could always, if you could always see the future, you're probably gonna think, maybe that was a terrible idea, or no, 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 we shouldn't do that. And Nathaniel Hackett is a offensive coordinator with the Packers. Coming as a head coach to the Broncos probably wasn't a good idea either, because let's be
Who
honest.
was not ready.
Okay, not even that. The Packers offense the past couple of years has choked in big situations. They were in the NFC Championship for like 2 or 3 years running the past couple of seasons and choked against teams they should have beat. So, do you really think a guy that led an offense that choked should lead a whole team? Especially a team that has been in turmoil since 2015, looking for a quarterback.
Yeah,
I think not.
it was definitely a tough ask. But
I
I think
mean,
it just showed me
throwing.
that
Sorry.
just showed that Nathaniel Hackett was not. I don't think he was truly ready for the heavy task that the Denver coaching job brings to the table.
I mean, yes, it's good experience for Hackett to realize that what happened happened, and that he could learn from it eventually, or not eventually, like just learn from it. And then Russell Wilson, uh, I don't know what the hell's going on in the locker room, but whatever the media is saying about his persona or whatever is going on just in general in the locker room, I think they need to sort that shit out. And obviously they're not going to sort that out right away, but whatever the hell is going on, they need to figure out. Instead of just finding someone to blame, they just need to figure it the hell out. Because rather than have the team be pissed off at each other, work it out and figure it out rather than putting the blame on somebody and then having the media try to figure it out. Because the media isn't always right.
Yeah. All right. So now we go to the film room. And yeah, I think you actually went 4-4. So that should actually put you.
Yeah, we didn't do the math for the total records, but hey, I got a magic number. So my record last week was 4-4. I went even. Spanis went 5-3. My total record now is 69, 66-1. Nice. Spanis is 85-50-1.
Yep. I am up by 16 games.
Way to rub it in.
And the first game we have is Tennessee Clemson.
I'm picking Tennessee because I have a feeling they could upset Clemson. And also, I just kind of wanted to have one of those games where I go against Spanis instead of just being like, okay, yeah, nod head, and then just keep moving on. All right.
I'm taking the Clemson Tigers due to the lack of Hendon Hooker for the Tennessee Volunteers. Alabama K-State.
You know me, I'm going EMA, every man a Wildcat with the Kansas State Wildcats.
Roll Tide. I'm taking Bama.
Boo. Just kidding.
Ohio
not really.
State, Georgia.
Well, we both agreed on this one. Georgia.
Yep. And then Michigan TCU. You
I'm
went
picking. I'm picking
You went with the Horned
TCU.
Frogs, and I took the Wolverines.
Part of me wonders how the hell they came up with that. Were they just like running out of ideas, or were they just like the Horned Frogs sound like a cool like name for a
Oh,
team?
I think the Horned Frog might also be a desert animal too. So, but now
That
the
could be
next one
true.
here, the game that's currently being played right now, and I'm sure we picked it before it began. Cowboys
How about
Titans.
those Cowboys?
We both said the Cowboys. We agreed on Commanders Browns. We both are hopeful that Carson Wentz can lead the Commanders to another victory. Bills Bengals. We both said the Bills to make the AFC North be an all or nothing between Baltimore and Cincinnati.
3 in a row too, by the way, on our picks of being
Yep.
the same.
And Pittsburgh Baltimore.
I picked the Steelers because I feel like their defense is gonna take out the offense that is non-existent of the Ravens. Um, so that's why I picked the Steelers.
Yeah. Huh. I took the Ravens. I took the Ravens just simply because I think they will find a way to get that offense to come together. Panthers Buccaneers. We both said the Panthers to make Tom Brady for possibly the final season in his career miss the playoffs.
Also, he's played half his career as much as since he was born too. So he played. So since he's been born, he has kind of played football, and now I guess the mark is that he's played half of his life in football with the
Yep.
NFL.
Yep. Let's make the fossil retire.
Or just
And
put
then,
him in the fountain of youth. I don't know.
and then last but not least, Vikings Packers. We both said the Vikings.
Because JJ, you gotta have JJ and DC.
Yep.
Dalvin Cook and let him cook and let Jefferson keep catching them tutties.
All right. And now we go to the color commentary, of which this is our year in review, as we have done the yearly awards. The first one that I'm going to say that we have, kind of to start out in a little bit more of an off topic. What were some movies and video games that you saw or played that defined 2022 for you?
Uh, as far as movies, uh, man, I would have to say Nope, which is the Jordan Peele movie where it's his movies are more of thrillers, and then I would say Top Gun, but I feel like um I would have to say something else like Bullet Train and or Everything Everywhere All at Once. So my top two are gonna have to be Nope and Everything Everywhere All at Once, because Everything Everywhere was one of those like Inception kind of movies where you had to think about it, but Nope was more one of those movies where it was just like you find out later the Easter eggs or what was hidden that you didn't realize in the beginning whenever you actually saw it. What about you, Spanish?
I will be revealing mine in more detail during Two Nerds in a Pod on Tuesday. So I know that I'm keeping a lot away from my actual podcast and putting it onto another one, but I am giving no spoilers to any picks that I choose for that episode. So I'm making you guys listen for it. Not trying to be that guy, but it's really this is going to be a move to be that guy. I want to make sure you guys listen over there for it as well. Get the shameless plug. Get the shameless plug over to Lam and Mac, as I will be with them on Tuesday doing this thing. So
Yes, that is twitch.tv/2nerds. They also have
two
other
nerds in a pod. Yep.
platforms. We will have the link in the description for them in this episode. And if not, correct me in the comments down below. But yes, they should be. I believe they're on Stitcher and other platforms, but I can double check that.
Yeah. But I will be doing that episode. I'll be doing that episode on Tuesday night. And if you show up live to the Twitch chat, especially coming over from the Ruckus and the Menace podcast, definitely shout it out. I will be sure to find you.
And I should be in the audience on Tuesday. We'll see.
Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of doing this a little backwards from how we wrote it, but the best podcast moments of the year.
So mine is more of a funny thing. So like, I view the best podcast moments of the year as the technical difficulties that I caused throughout the year. One of them being not being prepared for a war room segment, which was actually turned out pretty funny.
Wait, was it a deal or no deal?
Yes, sir.
It was a deal or no deal, and I'm basically having to like walk you through this,
Yeah, and I
a
was
deal
like,
or no deal.
that was like the most
live on
embarrassing.
pod.
Dude, that was the most embarrassing pod moment I ever went through, but it was still hilarious. That
my.
and every time I forgot to realize that I was using NVIDIA Broadcast for my input on my mic instead of just the raw input for my mic. And so if you don't know what that is, NVIDIA Broadcast suppresses the mic, so like if I have loud stuff going on in the background, you wouldn't hear it because it's being suppressed. But with the raw mic input, you would be able to hear all that going on in the background. So if you're wondering what the hell is going on in my background, well, sometimes it's just like random air passing through, or it could be like someone's moving around in the basement, you name it, like it could be happening. Or if someone like yells my name, it'll be suppressed. Anyways, uh, the problem with broadcast is if I do like certain sound effects like the good, bad, and ugly thing, it won't pick up in the mic. And for the past like month or two, whenever I would do the wah, 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 Spanish wouldn't be able to hear it. And sometimes I'd forget to take NVIDIA Broadcast off as the input on Discord when we were in the call, because I would only cognitively think to do it on OBS, which is what I use to record this podcast. And he wouldn't be able to hear it, but I would, and I'd be like, "Yeah, whatever, it happened." So that's my best podcast moments of the year. It's just like the random bloopers that would happen on the show, because I feel like that's like the best part of doing it live, because we do it live. Shout out to Sting for being alive.
Okay, so I had the 10-0 during one particular week of the film room. Let's see. Then I had a couple of really interesting like stump ruckus moments in a couple of primetime games that we did.
Way to rub it in.
I now know Ruckus is not great at Jersey math or any of these other ridiculous things. I think the silver episode was a good one for that.
I mean, hey, here's the bottom line. We're learning about each other every single episode, and we're building more chemistry to like understand it. I mean, that's the bottom line here. We're learning and growing together, and also our audience is growing with us at the same time. And we very appreciate that very greatly.
The biggest win of the year.
Oh crap. Uh, is that the biggest triumph you
Yeah.
said?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yes.
why I was like, oh crap, because I
The
probably didn't
pure
have one.
the pure
That could.
dub. The pure dub moment.
My favorite triumph was Pujols getting over the 700 homer mark. Mainly because he has been a staple in my childhood since like I started getting into baseball, and I got the privilege to be able to see him at Kauffman Stadium when he was still a Cardinal hit a homer, and that was probably one of the coolest moments ever.
I've seen Pujols live. I saw Pujols live twice.
Actually,
Once
I've
as a
seen him many times live. I saw him as a Cardinal and as a Angel, and that was the only two times.
Yep, yep. Those were my two as well. Pujols also was there live with Yachty. The Angels one, I also ended up getting the first year of Mike Trout. So I saw Mike Trout before everybody hyped him up.
I think I saw him too, maybe. I don't remember. It was a
I think,
long time
yeah,
ago.
It was his rookie year. I know that.
What year was that?
2012.
Okay, I definitely didn't see him yet then. So, I definitely saw Albert, but that was about it. Yeah.
Tragic loss of the year. Kind of like the really kind of like this could be like a crushing loss for a team or
So I went for one of the first ones to happen, and this was before even the NFL season started. I think this was like still around the springtime or early springtime. But a former Washington Commander, Redskin, you name it, and now former Buffalo Bill and Pittsburgh Steeler, Dwayne Haskins.
or
Uh,
I don't think Haskins was ever a Bill really, but he was a Steeler for sure.
okay. For what I think I'm confusing him with Mitchell Trubisky because Mitchell
Yep,
Trubisky
because
played for the
Trubisky was a
Bills.
Bear. He went from the Bears to the Bills to the Steelers.
Yeah, that's why I was probably mixed that up. But even then, Dwayne Haskins was also a teammate of Mitchell Trubisky with the Steelers, and it's very sad that he uh, passed away in a car accident. Spanish, what was yours?
I am actually going even more recently. And this loss actually just happened earlier today. I'm taking Pele. Now, everybody kind of growing up would know that one of the greatest soccer players of all time, other than obviously like people going with Diego Maradona, the most notable one to come from, of course, Brazil was Pele. And it showed, as Pele was an iconic figure in the soccer community. So we lost. So the soccer world lost Pele.
Also, what other tragic losses were there too? Because wasn't there one that recently happened with Mike Leake or and
Mike
like
Leach,
other?
yep. Mike Leach. I'm not too sure of
Oh
some.
yeah, the guy named the Fridge. I forgot what his
Oh
name was.
wait, no, William Perry didn't die.
The Fridge, the Steelers guy.
Oh, that's Franco Harris.
Okay, what
That's
was his
Franco
nickname though?
Harris.
I thought it was the Fridge. My bad.
No, that's William Perry. That was a Bears defensive lineman.
Okay, I
He was
probably
the
watched. I
he was the
watched
person
Princess Bride back here early on and mistake the two. My bad.
that was Andre the
That
Giant.
that's on me. That's on me. Well, there was a poster of the Fridge. That's what I'm trying to say. It was like whenever they were showing like the story. Okay, cut me some slack. Anyways, what's
Franco Harris was the one that caught the immaculate reception,
okay?
which was
Even
why
then,
that was sad.
I was also trying to figure out. I was also trying to figure out who else was we lost. as
The
well.
instant classic game of the year.
All right, my instant classic is the Chiefs Raiders of this year when they first met early this season. I don't even remember what week it was, but even then, it's an instant classic because the Chiefs beat the Raiders by 1 point. And also, it's an instant classic because Travis Kelce scored 3 touchdowns in a game
Was it
that
3
night.
or was it 4?
Oh crap!
I believe, if I remember this correctly, I think it might have been 4.
Let me see. I'm looking at the stats now, and according to Google, it says that Travis Kelce had 4 touchdowns. So you are correct, and I was wrong. I don't know why I thought it was 3. I'm a Chiefs fan and I should know this, but it was also like week 5 or 6, I think, October
It
10th.
was
So
week
that's
5 because it was 4-1, or the Chiefs went to 4-1 and the Raiders fell to 1-4. So
yep.
yeah, so it was Kelsey had a 1-yard pass, then a 4-yard pass, then an 8-yard pass, and then another 1-yard pass. So he had Kelsey's stat line for that entire game, as shocking as this would sound, he had 7 receptions for 25 yards and had 4 touchdowns. His longest play was only 8 yards.
Which is insane because he mainly got through touchdowns in the red zone, and he was probably one of my studs for early on in the podcast when we had football talks too because of that.
All right. Who are who are a couple players of the year that you're going to give like a simple seal of, like, the player of the year seal of approval for this year of 2022?
I would have to say Isaiah Pacheco for one. The second one would have to be uh probably in the realm of Jamal Williams, and then another one would be Jalen Hurt. Oh wait, no, because you have that one. Wait, can we have the same ones?
What? The
Players of the year.
Who are you planning on taking?
Hurts, but I didn't know.
Oh, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, for me, my players of the year consisted of Jalen Hurts. I had Rafael Nadal as far as winning the first 2 major tennis tournaments, and then Kylian Mbappe for his performance at the World Cup. And then my other instant classic game, I had the greatest comeback with the Vikings Colts, which was obviously there, but I also had the World Cup 2022 final as well that had Kylian Mbappe have a great game too. So what happened with that World Cup final? This was one of, if not the, probably the greatest tournament finish that you could really have, as it came down to penalty kicks. Kylian Mbappe had a hat trick, and Lionel Messi scored twice in that game. And it came down to Argentina winning 4-2 in penalties as 2 major shots got stopped. So that was the instant classic there. Coaches of the year for you, Ruckus.
My coaches of the year had to be both Philadelphia Eagles coaches, one that's a former and one that is currently the coach. And the one that's currently the coach is Nick Sirianni, and the other is a former Philadelphia Eagles coach, which is Andy Reid.
I took Dan Campbell and Mike McDaniel. What was the LMAO moment of the year?
Mine
What
had to
moment just
be.
had you dying laughing?
I saw it live even too on TV. It was the butt punt because of the fact that Miami was so deep in their own red zone that whenever they punted it, they ended up giving up a safety, and it happened that the punter kicked the ball right into the butt of his long snapper.
Involved Tommy Pham and Jack Peterson with the fantasy football slap heard round the world. Though the slap heard round the world involved Will Smith and Chris Rock, the fantasy football league etiquette one in baseball was a few months later as Tommy Pham got suspended 3 games for smacking Jock Peterson. The OMG moment of the year.
I had to give it to Devontae Adams for shoving a cameraman after the Raiders Chiefs game in week 5.
The Martinsville Wall Run as a driver took the final 2 turns along the wall, flooring it like SpongeBob in the boating exam, and finishing in 5th place and not having Mrs. Puff go, "Why, SpongeBob? Why?" And which one do we want to do first, Ruckus? The stud of the year or the dud of the year?
Let's do the stud first.
Okay, your stud of the year. Who are you between and who did you pick?
This might not be new news, but this one is my stud of the year is Travis Kelsey, T. Kels, the Big Yeti.
Almost went with, of course, some new news and taking the Big Yeti and Fat Batman with having the Kelsey brothers be in there. I had Alexander Ovechkin in there, and I ultimately settled on Lionel Messi for having a great World Cup and taking the hardware home for the first time ever. And you're done of the year.
My shit hitting the fan moment of the year has to be drum roll please. The Broncos. Because no surprise here, but they are a dumpster fire. If there was, I mean, the Broncos dumpster fire is more special because you could probably also get high while being in the dumpster fire as well, because weed's legal in Colorado, so it'd be more fitting for Broncos country. Let's get high. Maybe that's what Wilson was thinking this whole time. Maybe
But he
he's
was
in
in a-
his own fantasy land. Maybe there was a strain called lose most of your games. I don't know. Or red zone. That'd be funny.
All right. My dud of the week goes to none other than Antonio Brown. We don't really need to go into details, just simply how he started the year and how it went was simply enough to say that may this man go to where he needs to go and not tell people to put that on.
Maybe he needs the help of Michael Jordan to be like, stop, get some help.
My gosh, that was bad, but I think it was at least good enough. But now we move on to the primetime game, which we haven't had for a little bit. But we've got a nice little quick one here. Today's primetime game is called, or at least this episode's primetime game is called Guess the Year. There will be 3 clues for each one, 2 sport related and 1 non sport. And we personally will have to guess each other's for 1 year based on the 3 things that happened. I will go first so that we actually see a pretty good example here. The first one I'm going to give you is that Michael Vick and LaDainian Tomlinson were top draft picks in this NFL draft class. The second one I'm going to give you is the characters Dom Toretto and Brian O'Connor are introduced to us on the big screen. And Barry Bonds hitting 73 home runs as a single season record and also led the MLB in walks in the same season. The hint I'm going to have for you here is that every single one that I have is in the 2000s. Which season did I, or which year did I pick?
I'm gonna say 2003.
Incorrect. The correct answer is 2001. Dom Toretto and Brian O'Connor made their debuts in The Fast and the Furious, which was a 2001 movie. 2003 did release a Fast movie, but that one was Too Fast, Too Furious. And Michael Vick was the number 1 overall draft pick in 2001. So yes, your correct answer in that case was 2001. All right, Ruckus, I'll take my first one.
All right. So here we go. So I'm again, for example, misleading myself with how the prompt was. I literally thought it was 2 prompts that were all sports related, and then one that was like that was pretty much unrelated to sports. But
Right.
anyways,
Yes, that's right. So 2 significant events in sports, and then 1 event usually pretty also can be pretty significant for an event for a thing that was not in sports.
all right. But the format I had was literally all 3 clues were sports, and that was for 2 of
Okay.
those, and then one of them
Oh,
was.
okay.
I mean, the
All
ones
right.
that did have the current events that in general also had a sports fact. So I don't know if that also
Okay.
could be
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I'll roll with it and see where it goes.
Okay, I just wanted to give you a fair warning because I screwed up again.
Yep.
Um,
But
in
this one may
2000,
not be so bad.
um,
Don't
and
give the year.
yep. All right. So the Green Bay Packers win the Super Bowl. Tiger Woods wins his first Masters, and then Finals MVP was in fact Michael Jordan. Do you need me to give
90.
you a hint?
I'm gonna say 1996. I mean, if you're gonna say the
Ooh.
Super Bowl, if you're gonna say the Super Bowl was there in '97, okay, but it would have
Okay.
been the 1996 season.
Um, you are close, but no cigar. It was 1997, actually.
That's exactly what I was saying. Is that Super Bowl may have been played in '97, but it was the '96 football season. But I think the biggest difference there was probably the Tiger Woods Masters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured. All right, the second one. Dustin Pedroia wins AL Rookie of the Year as part of a World Series championship season.
Can I stop you
Despite,
there?
yeah,
What's the year is 2006
nope.
or 2007, I should say. But
It
yeah,
would have
erase
been
that date.
2000. It would have been 2007. Yep, because the other two, the Spygates Patriots season ends with New England going 18-1, losing to the Giants in the Super Bowl, and Crank That Soldier Boy became a dance craze of this year. And that year was 2007.
Ready for your second one?
Yep.
All right. So in this year, Fresno State won the College World Series. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays had their first winning season in franchise history. And then here's another random stat. It had been the first time in the past 2 decades since the Lakers and Celtics met in the finals.
2008.
Correct.
Yep. The first one definitely made that one tricky. All right. So, for the third one that I'm going to give you, Antonio Banderas made his debut as the character Puss in Boots. This is the first. So in short, the year that it's talked about was the first film released with Antonio Banderas being Puss in Boots. Following the NBA Finals loss in this calendar year, Shaq was traded to Miami in this offseason, and Randy Johnson becomes the oldest player to pitch a perfect game.
2005?
Nope, 2004. The Lakers lost to the Pistons in the '04 finals. The '04 finals, which was from the '03-04 season, to the Detroit Pistons. Within a couple months after that, Shaq was traded from the Lakers to Miami. Shrek 2, released in 2004.
I didn't know. I couldn't recall whether or not Shrek 2 was 2004, 2005, but I distinctly remember that Puss in Boots was in Shrek 2, and I was trying to figure out whether or not that was '04 or
Yep,
'05.
yep. So that's where I got you. And of course, I referenced the Randy Johnson thing back in an earlier sport history an episode where Randy Johnson was the oldest player to throw the perfect game at 40 years young. All right, Ruckus, what's your third one?
All right. This one. All right, here we go. In this year, Patrick Swayze passed. The
So the
Lakers
death of
beat the Magic in the finals. Obama gets sworn into office.
2009.
Yes, sir. Yes, we
Yep.
can.
Yep. Okay.
Do you want an extra one?
I have two more, but
I just
I
have
have
one
two.
extra one. So, do you want me to
I have
do
two. I
mine?
have two. I have two because I did five. Okay, but these are pretty short. In Sync releases No Strings Attached. Releases the No Strings Attached album. The World Series that year was a Subway Series. And the Baltimore Ravens in this football season won their first Super Bowl.
What is 2001?
Missed it by a year.
2002?
It was 2000.
Ah, I was thinking 2000, but I was like, crap. Wait, it wasn't because I
The
was
Yankees
thinking.
lost to
Okay,
the
I
Yankees lost to the Diamondbacks in the 2001 World Series. The
okay.
World
So
Series in
I
2000.
mixed up the 2000 World Series with the 2001 series. That's where I screwed up because I thought 2000 was the year that Diamondbacks beat the Yankees, but here we are.
Nope, you missed that by a year because the Pizza Man was still a Met at the time. And Mike Piazza. Yep. You said you had one more, or did you finish out?
I just have one more, and then we could
Okay.
probably
Yeah.
switch
And then
off.
yeah, and then I got one more after the one you give me here, so
All right. Here we go. So here is my last one. Artificial intelligence chatbot developed its own language to deceive humans at Facebook's AI research program. Record-setting hurricane season of 10 hurricanes and 17 named storms, causing 2 billion in damages. And then the most talked about flop that happened in the Super Bowl.
2017.
God damn it! How did you figure that out?
The 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 flop, the Super Bowl flop.
Dang it. Okay, sure. I'll give you that. Yeah, that was
Okay.
2017.
So, my second one, or my last one here. The Buccaneers win their first Super Bowl in franchise history during this football season. The Angels win the World Series in this baseball season. And Ludacris released the album Word of Mouth.
2002.
That is 2002. Yes.
Yay, I got one to end the year.
Yeah, that one was 2002. Yep.
I
And
did a thing.
I'm pretty sure it was either the Buccaneers or the Angels that got it, not word of mouth. Okay, so now we are getting ready to close out this episode, and we go right into our stud and dud of the week. Ruckus, what you got to start?
I got Cam Akers as my stud, as he had 23 carries for a total of 118 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, we kind of did this out of like a 2 week period, so
Right, this was from last week, so
yep. So mine kind of went over the 2 week span. My stud this week went as a co-stud to Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe for putting on a complete and dazzling show, leading their respective nations in the World Cup final. Messi had 2 goals. Kylian Mbappe had a hat trick. Kylian Mbappe, of course, winning the Golden Boot and the Golden Ball. Messi taking home the World Cup trophy. It seemed like everybody, as far as those two major stars, won. As Lionel Messi showed that he was probably going to be one of, if not the greatest of all time, and Kylian Mbappe has further improved that this young man, is the next man up. And what is your dud this week?
my dud is kind of a soft one when it comes to humor, but here we go. So, I was really butthurt about this too, because this kind of is why I why I lost the semifinals. But my dud this week is DeAndre Hopkins for not getting the ball at all, resulting in no fantasy points in my respective league and probably others. As he maybe got one carry. Like, my god, McSorley. I made the comment earlier this week that McSorley sounds like he shouldn't be a quarterback and he should be playing in a hockey league somewhere. Because that's just what McSorley, the name McSorley reminds me of, to be honest.
Yep. My dud went in an honorable mention fashion with Salt Bay. But my real dud is Patriots wide receiver Jacoby Myers for deciding to pitch the ball to that ended up going to Raiders defensive lineman Chandler Jones on a last second play during a tie game as it got returned all the way back for a touchdown. And the Patriots lose.
Yeah, that was a very depressing time when I saw that in the highlights that the Patriots were like, "Oh, we were like halfway up the field," and then and then they just yeeted the ball over to Chandler Jones. Out of all things that happened, the the crappy thing was what happened to that one fan that got recorded, uh, talking mad smack to a Patriots fan that
Oh yeah,
ended
he
up
ended up
having the
getting to sit with Robert Kraft.
uh-huh.
That wasn't too bad though.
Yeah. I still couldn't imagine getting like uh talked about or like getting bragged about like that against another fan. I mean, against another fan. My mind you that we don't know what happened before that ever happened, but still like um who knows what would have happened, but even then.
Yeah, but that game very well should have gone to overtime. And it's like, yeah, if you're dead in the water and trying to and not needing to score, this game is tied. You could kneel and try and beat the and beat the signet, or at least beat the Raiders
Yeah.
in a different way. And it would have involved probably going into overtime. But that's what that game should have happened to be. All right, Ruckus, go ahead and take us out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Ruckus and The Menace podcast, episode number 37. I am Ruckus.
And I'm Spence the Menace.
Thank you for listening to our awesome sports podcast where we talk nothing but sports and other cultural phenomenons. And thank you for listening to us near the beginning of the year and throughout the rest of the year. I am thankful that we got to uh, that I got the opportunity to talk with Spence about sports and also just in general, just spit facts and uh, just other garbage about sports teams and just sports in general. It's been a fun year, and I can't wait to see what happens in 2023.
Yep, looking forward to that. Happy New Year, y'all.
Happy New Year. Hopefully, everyone has a good New Year's Eve and take it easy on New Year's Day as we all recover.
Yep. Deuces.
Deuces.